It's not like opposing teams can say, just guard the good twin and leave the other one struggling over there in the corner. That's because both Smiths are phenomenal scorers. Against FAMU earlier this year, Andrell scored 26 points and Andrea scored 29. Both players say having their sister on the team makes them push to be better. The ball went from the plate to Alex's head at 102 miles an hour. It gave him just about a tenth of a second to react. You can tell just by looking at the top of your Twitter page, you're a Tampa guy. You're proud of that though, aren't you?
I'm proud I'm from Tampa. I love it.
Could you have imagined when this started 9 years ago, you'd be raising this kind of money for this effort?
Not at all, but I think people have rallied.
But to a Spartan, this is fine dining. And some players say, the key to winning it all. So who's the real Dunk City? Well, the basket doesn't lie. Through 8 games, the Bulls have 39 dunks and the Eagles have just 19. And Victor Rudd leads the way. You may have heard. There's a big game this Friday. Undefeated Eastlake and undefeated Pinellas Park, both making noise in the district race.
Get Watson on 11.
You may have heard, but Patriot senior Tyler Cook has not. Born deaf, Tyler doesn't hear the whistles or the hits. Instead, he feels the game.
He goes out there and he just breaks all the boundaries, does exactly what everybody else does. He's just a happy guy that just enjoys doing what he does, and that's play football.
Just like everybody else, he jokes around. He's really cool. He's really funny. But, you know, he just does it in a different way.
This is a district game, and there's business. There's business tonight. We're going to take care of business.
An interpreter helps Tyler if he has any questions, and his family supports him from the stands. Tyler sometimes plays late in games, and he loves football.
Go! Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. You know, just go out there and achieve your goal. That's exactly what he's doing.
One sign at a time. The legendary Beatles grew up just down the road from the site of this week's Open Championship, the Royal Liverpool Golf Club, which has been a hard day's night for many of the players, like Tiger Woods. But Rory McIlroy is putting on a classic performance, one the classic rockers could write songs about. All you need is love? Well, McIlroy, all he needs is a club. Every one of them has been working this week. It looks like the fans could use a yellow submarine today. Very soggy over there in England. Ricky Fowler was absolutely on fire. Oklahoma State grad made 7 birdies in his first 12 holes. There's one to get to 11 under. Then on 12, gets him a share of the lead with Rory McIlroy, but it didn't last long. Rory was ho-hum until number 14 here. He buried a long birdie putt to get to 13 under par. How did Tiger Woods do today, you ask? Well, not so great. He is in this bush, and I have no idea where his golf ball is. Neither does he. He shot one over. He can't even see Rory McIlroy. Ricky can. Check out this amazing play out of the bunker. It's more of a crater. Those things are huge. Puts it a few inches away. Both of the majors this year, top 5 for him. Only player to do that. Rory closes strong. Eagle on 16. Dead center of the cup. And then on 18, another eagle to put some distance between him and Ricky. Ringo Starr would love that. Rory way out in front. He set the 54-hole record for the lowest score at this tournament. He's followed by Ricky Fowler, Sergio Garcia, and Dustin Johnson. Tiger Woods nowhere close to contending. He's 19 shots behind Rory at 3 over par. Can anyone catch Rory? Those Eagles are going to make it tough.
The finish speaks for itself.
And then there's this crazy story from BBC reporter Andrew Cotter. 10 years ago, when Rory was a teenager, Rory's dad and 3 of his friends placed a legal bet at 500-to-1 odds that his son would win the Open Championship before he turned 26 years old. Rory is 25, so if he wins tomorrow, the 400 euros the men bet a decade ago will earn dear old dad over $341,000 by tomorrow evening. I need to get my daughter some clubs.
Yes!
Isn't that how all you ladies envisioned your big engagement moment? On a stage, national TV, just a few minutes before your fiancé would gorge himself with a few dozen francs in hopes of winning what's probably a plastic mustard-colored belt. It's like a modern-day Cinderella story, all right. Yeah, here's your prince. Joey Chestnut, the greatest living American, owns 32 eating records, including burgers, Twinkies, and boiled eggs. He banishes brats and hails ice cream. Today, he did in the dogs. Unbelievable. Joey celebrated his new engagement with his 8th straight 4th of July hot dog eating contest victory. 61 hot dogs and buns in just 10 minutes. Are you hungry, Heather?
Oh, I mean, hearts are breaking everywhere, Bobby. I got to be honest.
I know. This is what the great Joey Jaws accomplished in those 10 minutes. 23,790 calories, about 1,200 grams of fat, 60,000 grams of sodium, 2,200 grams of carbs, and we can assume a couple of stretch marks. We're just guessing that. That's not a factual number, but that's an impressive competition.
It is, and at least his fiancée respects his sport.
She is also a competitive eater. So imagine Thanksgiving at their home for years to come. Both of them, yeah.
Imagine the grocery bill.
1908 was a happening time. President Teddy Roosevelt was quite popular. So were top hats. The Model T and the electric washing machine were the new hot inventions in town, and Walter Johnson ruled the baseball world. The future Hall of Famer became the first man to win each of his first 5 career starts against the New York Yankees. And tonight, Chris Archer could become the second man to do it. You know, every one of these playoff games has a flavor all of its own. A lot of the night last night, it looked like it'd be a rocky road for the Rays until that Lobaton home run. And then suddenly the night was anything but vanilla. He was waving his number 23 Cavaliers jersey, which was surprising to me because I thought all of those jerseys had been burned. And that was the iconic image from 4 years ago when he decided to leave Cleveland and come down here to South Florida. But tonight, the iconic image here in South Beach looks like it might be this.
How's the U.S. doing?
U.S. is doing okay. You can maybe hear we're starting to chant, I believe that we can win. U.S. has to win in this very important game. No, don't adjust your calendar. It's actually still 2013. It just looks a lot like 1920 out here in Temple Terrace today, where golfers are ditching these steel clubs for the clubs that were used when the game first began. Hickory clubs. It's an opportunity for the players to remember what golf's all about.
It's nice for them to realize that this game has been around a long time. And for us to go back to the roots, I think it's also an intriguing test.
We used Hickory golf clubs from about 1895 up to 1927. We had a tournament here in 1925, which all the pros played with Hickory golf clubs, so we're recreating that event.
That event was the Florida Open at the Temple Terrace Golf Club. Today, 88 years later, dressed in the clothing from yesteryear, dozens of golfers competed in the 3rd annual Hickory Golf Championship. By using wooden clubs instead of modern-day steel, golf becomes more strategic. You can't just hit the ball a mile anymore, turning this classic sport back into a thinking man's game.
Well, I think it's great fun because it brings strategy back into the game, which unfortunately with the latest equipment on the market, it's almost a lost art. It's important to pay homage to the guys who went before because without them we wouldn't have a game.
In Temple Terrace, I'm Bobby Lewis, 10 News. They call it the Snake Pit for a reason. The closing 3 holes at Copperhead ate up challengers all afternoon, but John Senden went to the tee on 18 with a chance at his 2nd ever PGA Tour victory.
The tee shot I was kind of nervous, and then the putt was a difficult putt, but I just had to stay in the process and do what I do best and try and just hit the best putt I can, and I was lucky enough to hit it down to 1.5 inches, so I was happy with that.
Senden had the best round on Saturday, a 7-under 64, but had to battle through 18 holes on Sunday. On 10, he escaped with a par after finding trouble behind a TV tower and dropped out of the lead after a bogey on 13. Scott Langley led at one point, so did others, but nobody could hold off Senden's late push. He finished as the runner-up at Innisbrook in 2007 and 2008 and didn't want another second-place finish this weekend.
It was a tough time. It was I really had to work hard to stay in the moment down the middle of the back 9 because the breezes were really tricky, and knowing that I got another PGA Tour event, I'm just so happy to be able to to say that I'm a twice PGA Tour winner. Having a couple of runner-ups and now a win, I think this is probably one of my favorite events on the tour.
We began the final round with a man who is the reigning U.S. Open champion and a couple of past champions at this tournament in contention. But it's the guy who hadn't won in 8 seasons on tour that takes home the 40-pound trophy. John Senden is your champion at the 2014 Valspar Championship.
In Innisbrook, I'm Bobby Lewis, 10 Sports.